Hey you guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be going through my round 7 trade targets for AFLW fantasy. And I think this round, looking at the break-evens, has sort of shown to me that we are very much in a round where for the rest of the season, there's going to be no rookies really that we can target. We're kind of hoping on a couple of 300Kers at this point. I mean, a lot of people have their team basically completed and are looking for those types of, I guess, 200K upgrades that really could make or break sides. So there is a little bit of risk with just saying that I don't need a cash generation through a center if you are to trade them, or if you are looking to hold them. Maybe you're burning points in the short term, but you'll be able to gain that back in the long term. So it is just sort of this consideration with how much cash gen do you actually need remaining, and then we'll also look at the best sort of trade targets for each line. But anyway, let's jump into it here. So as you can see, here is the I guess the break evens for this week. And we can just see in the defender line, it is basically Govan, Borg, and then that's about it. Govan, 610K. And if we actually bring her up itself, if we just make this bigger for you guys to actually see, there we go. That should do, that'll do it justice there. That'll make it easier there. You can see Govan, 610K. And you can see it's basically off of one spike game. And so I don't really rate this pick in the long run, to be honest with you completely. So I just think that if we look at Govan's stats in general here, you can see a 40.9, a 43.8, a highest of 71 outside of that. And that was her first ton score. And that was, she's only in what's been so far, 24 games. She's had 3 games above 50. 3 games above 50 doesn't fill you with much confidence, I'm not going to lie. As you can see, 1, 2, 3 games above 50 there. So yeah, I'm not one that's really going to look at bringing her in here. Just double checking, yep. And then a couple of 40 scores there, as you can see. High 40 scores, so yeah. I do not like the look of her, in all honesty, and I think that this one will be one where if we look at her expected cash generation, she's probably going to make 100, she's probably going to get up to 800K just on the basis of break evens and stuff like that. But if she drops a 40, then there's not much point. Like, this is the exact same with Rowley, but I think it's even more of a severe case than what Rowley was a couple weeks ago. So I'd be sticking clear of Govan. I'd be more looking at like a Borg, Chambers, Smith, or even a Field, just looking at can they generate cash there, because someone's going to generate a little bit of cash, but it might not be a massive amount. And I think Field's probably the best option in all this mess, because Borg's had about 6 games, whereas that was Field's first game. So that's the defender line. The midfield line here, as you can see, there's not much else. I'm surprised if you look at the numbers for Indiana West, she should be about 330K, but she's 300K. I don't know why she didn't move. So maybe she's bugged out or something, so maybe don't go there. Violet Patterson's gone up, down, and around. Kavanagh had a decent game. I think it was about a 54 or something, so she's going to make a little bit of cash. Fletcher, Pauger, I'm pretty sure Fletcher's still injured. And then Pauger at 507K. I wouldn't be touching her, as you'd be looking at, you really be wanting to have that, the cash generation, and she's just not going to have it from memory, as yes, 48, 69. So she could easily drop a 20 and just have no cash generation. And then there's basically nothing else. And as you can see, Centra, 23 break even, 765K, and projected if she does go. And we just look at this quickly here. Where is she again? She goes up 137K for a 75 and 203K for a clean 100. So we'll see how she goes, but that is looking really good for cash generation. She's probably one of the last ones that has potential cash generation, to be honest with you. In the ruck line, I don't think there's legitimately anyone that's actually playing. That's, as you can see here, Fowler's probably the only one playing. And that's actually got a sub basement break even. And then even here you can see there's not many players here that I really like the look of at all. So yeah, there's no rucks, and you're probably looking, even if you are looking at the ruck line, to just have a loop option, which I think Fleur Davies is the best option for a loop in the forward line. Sorry, not the forward line, the ruck line, sorry. Then you have Lauren Young, who is the obvious choice. I'm glad that I went her. I mean, Banfield would have made a lot of cash, but Banfield has now got a break even. If we look here, where is Banfield here? Banfield has a break even now of 20, so it's not even that bad. I just missed her. So she's going to make a little bit of cash and probably was the option over Reedy, who had a stinker. What even is Reedy's break even here, just quickly? Reedy's break even is a 35, so she's got a massive break even if she even gets selected tomorrow night. So we'll see about that. But yeah, Lauren Young's probably the only forward of note to really look at, because yeah, I don't expect any of these others to make too much cash if they're even playing. So there's that for all of the cash generators. Now we go on to the positions here, and I think at this point you can start to look at sort of last three, last two, last three, last five, and start to look at who's scoring, who's got the best role, who's got this, who's got that, and sort of, I think you'll find that, yeah, there's quite a lot of players here, I guess, that they're scoring pretty high in the back line. Goodwin and Lucas Rod are probably the two that I'd look at. If we go to defenders and then go to the price ranges here and just sort of filter through, you can see there's not really anyone in the 500k range. 600k range, Fitzpatrick and Boyd, Puller are the ones going well there. 700k range, Heath has done really well, basically, but you can sort of see it's actually down from what we've seen in the past. So yeah, she's one that I would probably almost consider moving on, but you'd obviously move Pax on before her, to be honest with you. As you can see, Pax is lowest in this category at 54 for the last three. Then we go into the 800k range, and you've got Goodwin, Carney, Pease, Thomas, alongside McCormack and Conan. I think Goodwin could do really well. I think she's a 70 plus. I just don't know if she's necessarily the option for me, or whether I want to go with the Riddell. We'll see what transpires in my video tomorrow, which route I go down. But yeah, I do like Carney and Goodwin. I know that Carney didn't have the greatest round of a 69 against Carlton, but does have Essendon, so there's that. And then Goodwin does have Sydney. Sydney could tag. I don't expect them to tag the likes of Goodwin. I expect them to attempt to tag on Noffy, but they could throw a different one out there and tag Goodwin. And then I do like still McCormack's done pretty well. I know it's not the big height games of like the 80 plus games, but she's still doing all right, and has West Coast this week, where I expect her to do pretty good there, and actually has done it with 0 tackles. The tackles just down there, so if the tackles were up, she'd do really well. So expecting her to come back strong this week, get 3 or 4 tackles there, and that'll help her out. And Conan against Richmond, honestly just hoping for a 70 there out of her. I wouldn't be trading into her. If you can trade out of her, then do it. But it's not an obvious upgrade as much as like a Pax or getting a Prasparkas to a Riddell or something of that regard there is. Then in the 900k bracket, you have got the likes of Lucas Rod and Chaplin. Lucas Rod finally dipped after a 76 against Collingwood. If we look at her break even here, Lucas Rod, and I will switch the position off here. You can see her break even of 89. So yeah, she's right in the zone to grab her if you can, because she's going to probably still do really well. I mean, we've seen her for the last couple of years average mid to high 80s at least. And I mean, she's averaging again this year, she's averaging 86 after averaging last year an 76.2 last year. Sorry. Did that encounter finals? Yes, it looks like it did, where she had a 50, a 48 and a 57, I believe. Maybe that was just this game here, but yeah, she definitely slowed down latter half of last year. So will be interesting to see how she goes. I'm still backing her in because she's on kick ends and everything else, and it's just looked pretty good throughout the year. And so I think she'll be one to definitely target for the latter half of this year, because even her last three, where she hasn't been doing the greatest compared to others like Watson, McLaughlin, etc. Like, even if we're just looking at McLaughlin's still 3 short of the likes of Tilly Lucas-Rod on the season average. Could overcome it this week. And you've obviously got Serene Watson at 77.5 for the year. She's done outstanding. But if you look at the last three, Tilly Lucas-Rod having a poor last three is still in 3rd place. So I think she is a definite one to look at. And I think Goodwin as well is a definite one to look at as well on the back line. Those two are the obvious ones. And then Carney probably the 3rd obvious if you don't have Watson and McLaughlin, because those two are like walk-ups. I would say McLaughlin's probably a little bit more of a walk-up than the likes of Watson. But that is more based on, I guess, the ability for her role to go into the midfield. Now, into the midfielders, and I'm pretty confident in saying that outside of Centra, who we talked about in the cash generators, that we can skip through the 700s, can skip through the 800s, can skip through the 900s, and can go all the way up to the 1 million plus range, where you've got Noffy averaging 142 last three. She's been absolutely on fire, and I don't think I've had a captain on any of them. Because, you know, oh no, sorry, I had her captain for the 118, but not the 150 odd she's gone the last 2 weeks, because, you know, that's me. But yeah, she's been on fire and averaging 128.5 for the year. Bowers as well has been on fire, and now is averaging 114.7, which would put her, I believe, 4th or 5th for the year. Gardner 124 last three, and then Riddell and Finn also there. I'm pretty sure the likes of Garner, if you take out her, that's Hatchard. I swear I clicked on Garner. Garner, if you just take her last 2 games, she is averaging 125, which would put her right on Gardner's level. So you can kind of see that big 5 forming there. I know that Dana Finn's done pretty well in the last 3 games, gone 116, 113, 108, and including a 118 the previous week before that. But you can kind of see that that line is sort of forming in the last 3, that there's a breakaway crowd looking at it, because if you look at Hoare and Nanscorn, their top scores are going to fall away. A 141 for Nanscorn and a 119 for Hoare is going to fall away. And then they're suddenly averaging under 100 for their last 2 games. And then Rowbottom as well has that 147, which was a little bit of an outlier, I feel. And then also Tiny White's going to drop down to 100. So you're going to have a gap here potentially. We are looking at potentially, and I know that the likes of Riddell is going to have a 123 taken out of her system, but even if you take that out, she's still averaging 114, 115, which starts to, once Dana Finn calms down a little bit, create a gap of potentially 15 points per game from the lower half of this to the like sort of the other girls that you could be doing or selecting. Even Pressbarkis, that 117 falls out. She goes out to a 99, which drops down here as well. So you can kind of see how this is forming, and that there's a breakaway pack in the midfield, and you've got to have those 5 if you basically want to compete, because Dana Finn's probably going to have a stinker sometime soon. I don't know how she went 108 against North. Fair bloody play for doing that. But yeah, I don't expect her to continue on. And Nanscorn is one that's done pretty well across the year, but I think in the long run will fall away. And you can kind of see it as well here, that Bowers a 114 is going to be the lowest of the top 5. And then Nanscorn, if she falls away a little bit, it goes down to 102. So there's already that 15-point gap starting to be created here that you really need to watch out for in the midfield. Like, I hate to be simple, but these are the 5 you need to target. It is as simple as that. There is just too much of a gap there. Noffy, Riddell, Garner, Gardner, Bowers are too overpowered, I feel like. Bowers had 101 points of non-disposal work if you actually count it, because the 63 points in disposals. 101 points, that's more than almost what everyone else is averaging for a full game. Then you have Gardner, who's in this game only had 55 points and then had the 12 tackles, but she's usually up at around that 70, 80 points in disposals. She had a 96 in disposals against the likes of the Gold Coast Suns, as well as another 92 against the likes of the Fremantle Dockers. Garner is a freak. of nature, and 76 here, as well as the 28 in tackles there. So she's just an absolute all-rounder. She's also had the 84 in disposals there. Riddell's probably one, if we look here, a 108 in disposals, another, what is that, 84 in disposals, another 90 in disposals, 99 in disposals, 117 in disposals, and 73 in disposals. So she's on fire. I think she's averaging like 37 touches. And then you have Nofi, who just goes 84 in disposals, 64 in tackles, 56 in tackles, 52 in tackles. She's a tackling queen at the moment. So yeah, those are the big five, sorry. And then if you wanted a cheapie that probably could turn it around, it's probably going to be like a Monconti. Just because we've seen her do it in the past. And yeah, I think she's one. Tyler Hanks has fallen off after what a good start. She's definitely fallen away. Hall had that really bad game, which, yeah, that didn't help her. And then Hurley, I think, has had a quad injury again, so she's still another couple of weeks away from memory. So yeah, you can kind of see how everything is developing, and that gap is just widening, and you just need these five. It's as simple as that. I'd almost rather have someone like a Govan in the defender line if you can get the Riddell there, because the Riddell or the Garner or the Gardiner or the Bowers is going to be critical. Like if we look at the break evens for the midfielders that are top of the line, if I just do this, does this actually help it? No, the price doesn't seem to be doing anything, but you can see that here, if we go by price order, actually is the best way to do it. You can see Marinoff's got a 114 break even. She's going to be huge if you don't have her yet, especially in her 100th against Sydney. Sydney are probably going to fall over, and Nofi's going to do really well. Riddell's got a 128 break even, but she's got a couple of juicy matchups she's projected to average like 130 for the remainder of the year. Bowers got a break even of 80, so if she goes a 120 odd again, she'll go up another 100k and almost be ungettable. Gardner's at 127 and a 124 break even, sorry. And then you've got Garner with an 87 break even, where she goes 125, she goes up 100k. So she's probably the buy of the week. Her and Bowers, just because of their break evens and gettability, I would say, in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I would be getting whichever one you don't have of these girls, because it is so critical there. Then we go across to the ruck line, and I actually kept on saying, oh, Strom's going to eventually pull away. Strom's going to pull away. Strom's going to pull away. She's not pulling away. This is absolutely perfect scenario for those that have Scholes. She's doing exactly what we need her to do. Her low at the moment is a 71, which at worst case scenario is probably about a 40-point loss to the likes of Strom. But Scholes' best is better than the likes of Strom. So yes, I'm really, really happy to just be holding Scholes. She looks to also have a really juicy matchup the next couple of weeks. I believe round 9 is the last changeover point really for Strom and Scholl. And so we'll see how Strom does, because if Strom is like 900k or something dumb like that, if we look at Strom here and look at her sort of break even, you can see a 110 break even. If she goes tough against the likes of against Carlton and goes like an 80, then she'll drop down another 100k or so and be 1.06 million. Like she could drop hopefully below the 1 million, because that would be an easy upgrade from Scholes, who I think has even a really low break even. Again, let me just double check that. She's a 79 break even and could easily jump another little bit there with a huge score. So we'll see how those two develop, but I'm really liking just holding Scholes out of everyone in this one. She has the second best L3, I believe, if this would, there we go. Yeah, it's probably going to be second or third best L3 behind Wales, who's done really well the last couple of weeks with that big score against Collingwood. So yeah, I think it's obviously a clear breakaway top 5, but I have a feeling in the long run that it will be Scholes, Strom, and the Lucy Wales of the Wales variety. But obviously, Steph Wales has done pretty well in her 3 games so far. Then we get to the forward line, and we go and we look at their last 3. Goldworthy has put on an absolute show on the weekend against Sydney with her 31 touches, 8 marks, 9 tackles. So she was a gun. Parry's done really, really well. She went 1, nope, that's Goldworthy. Don't know why. Parry's gone 102, 98, 94 the last 3. So she's just come from the absolute clouds and looks amazing. I know a lot of people will probably trade her in for a differential. I just don't get what's going on there. I don't know what's going on. So that's the reason why I'm sticking clear of that for the moment. But she's looked absolutely fantastic. Parry, and I'm pretty sure has like a 60 break even, 76 break even. So we'd hope that she doesn't do anything big because we don't have her. Woodland as well. I know Window's a test, so this might throw up a little bit of curveballs here. But yeah, Woodland could be one to just watch her roll over the weekend because she did really well. She's done really, really well. But if Window comes back in and causes chaos there, then it might be a trade out to someone else with a decent schedule. Hooda's done really well. I need to check the role for Hooda. Let's just check it here, because we've known her to be able to go into the midfield before. 19% CBAs, 33 and 28. So yeah, the role is sort of spiking there for her. So she might be a differential play in the last couple of rounds, depending on fixtures. If we just go to fixture difficulty, and I will use the midfielders for the likes of Brisbane. If we go to Brisbane, they've got a pretty nice run for the remainder of the season, to be honest with you. So I actually don't mind that play if Hodder's going to go into the midfield if you don't like Woodland this week. Barnett and Ham just still doing what they need to do. Bonnie Too Good, don't expect good things from her this week because she's got North Melbourne. I think also her break even has really shot up in the last week over this week here. You can see a 58 break even. I don't think she could be a chance to miss that break even and start losing cash because North are just so damaging to anyone. Like, I put in a score prediction of something like 100 to 9 or 100 to 10 in this game going into it, just because North are going to smack them. So yeah, I don't expect Bonnie Too Good to do that well, but she surprised me once or twice. Can she do it a third time? We'll wait and see. Richards has done really well the last couple of weeks, but I wouldn't be picking her up. Garnett's injured. Maloney, not the best, but still averaging 70. So if she can pick it up, she could be a F5 for the remainder of the year, but do need her to pick up a little bit of the slack because she does have, I believe, an 80 odd break even, 78 break even. So would like her to score big against Hawthorn this week, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think differential wise this week, I do like the Ponta last couple of weeks. I know that she's had a couple of 40s, but I think that she'll still do really well, especially with Randall injured. I believe Randall injured. And then you've got Wardlaw, who's done 34, 107, and then 63. She's sort of gone up, down, and everywhere and not really doing much in the way of being a top 5. I think she's sort of in that top 8 category. But if you hit her on the right round, if you were to trade her in, then you're doing apps. Then it'll be like an F1 type of play for the week. But I think that is roughly it for the trade target video for AFLW Fantasy Round 7. If you guys did enjoy, remember to like and subscribe. Turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. And I will see you guys in future videos and live streams. Bye, guys.